The game officials had worked the Jazz game on Monday. NHL announced it will make a decision on its season coming up later today. Major League Baseball's meeting on Friday to discuss if they will delay the start of their season. In the NBA, on the court, we had the Mavericks beating the Nuggets 113-97. 76ers over the Pistons 124-106. Hornets down the Heat 109-98. Overtime for the Knicks to beat the Hawks 136-131. College basketball, Boston University won the Patriot League Conference Tournament title. I'm Eddie Garcia.
K105 Weather is brought to you by the 3 Grayson County locations of the Sicilian Bank.
Twin Lakes weather.
The potential remains for some damaging winds tonight, including perhaps some large hail and even an isolated tornado. So make sure you have a way to get weather alerts for this afternoon into the evening time period especially. Between now and then, clouds will continue to increase with a warm high of about 70. Warm tonight with thunderstorms on the radar. From the Wade for News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Brian Good.
Everybody's doing a play, and don't you know, it's a beautiful new day. Hey, running down the avenue, see how the sun shines brightly in the city, on the streets where once was pretty. Mr. Blue Sky is living here today. Hey, Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong?
This is In the Know for Thursday, March 12th, the 72nd day of 2020. There are 294 days left in the year. Good morning, MB, guiding you through In the Know at K105 on Litchfield's Country Station, 103.9 The Moose, live online at K105.com. Smartphone app using the SoundCloud or iTunes podcast. We are on Facebook Watch, on YouTube Live, on Periscope, and the hashtag is In the Know. Coming up today, we're going to update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, the country, may even dip out into the world. We will also have today's water cooler question, where it will be your chance to win. We've got that and a whole lot more coming up today here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire, is my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Let's talk about something, anything other than COVID-19. Want to?
Sure.
You like
Yeah.
animals, right?
I love them.
Don't shoot an armadillo. Do you know why you shouldn't shoot an armadillo?
It's going to backfire.
Yes, because their shells are bulletproof. I didn't know that. You knew that?
Are you kidding me?
I mean, I knew that they're tough. I didn't know they're bulletproof.
They are that tough.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that would be fun to at least watch. I don't want to get hurt, but I do want to see it happen. That would be fun. She's the pride of Pumpkin Center, the heiress to the great mini burger fortune. She's Vera Wayne's arch nemesis and professional bargain hunter's woman of the year. She's Misty Embry Thomas. Hey. How's Misty?
I'm healthy.
It's good. 2 thumbs up. You know, I was part of my educational background, part of my English training as a young person. You know, I was exposed to a principle called the word of the day. You find a new word every day. You use it 3 times in a sentence, and it's yours forever.
That's what you keep
and
telling
I'm here to share with you. I'm adding a new word to our vocabulary.
Okay.
It's whoopin' soccer.
Oh.
Whooping soccer?
Whoopin' soccer. WHOOP, like whoop.
Yeah.
EN soccer. Whoopin' soccer. It's Wisconsin slang used to describe something that's incredible.
I was getting ready to ask you, have I ever been or had a whooping soccer?
Watch out! There's a whooping soccer of a pothole over there
I was
that you're
hoping
about
like
to.
to spank a
The
soccer
whole
kid.
the whole world is suddenly whooping soccer. It
Yes.
is so much for not panicking. Let's talk about the weather for today. This afternoon and evening, some strong, severe storms may produce large hail and some damaging winds across this region of the country. Clouds will increase as we experience rapid warming this afternoon, well into the 60s and even a few 70s. Showers and thunderstorms will develop by mid to late afternoon. We will see cooler temperatures after midnight. Tomorrow will be calmer, a few peaks of sun, and we could see the return of what feels like winter on Saturday. Some chilly rain, highs in the 40s on Saturday. So winter's getting in its last digs before it exits stage left.
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
What, the end of next week, I guess, is when we'll be there. It's into next weekend though, isn't it? It's Friday. No, spring arrives on the 19th this year because of leap day. So where to begin? A lot has happened in the last 23 hours since we were last together. I guess it starts at the top with the WHO, the World Health Organization, that's who, have classified now this thing being the coronavirus, COVID-19, as a pandemic. For me, I don't know that suddenly makes it any worse. I thought it is what it is, and it's not as if I don't think people were sleeping on it going, that's not a real thing. Oh, suddenly it's a pandemic. I kind of was operating under the idea that it could become a pandemic already. But then that launched into a sequence of events yesterday that I'll sort of start at the end of the day and work and then jump back to the beginning. The president spoke to the nation last night in only his second address to the nation from the Oval Office. And it was fireside chat-esque. He announced a moratorium on travel to and from Europe for the next 30 days, beginning Friday night at midnight, because of the numbers that we're seeing coming out of Italy. So I guess that's an okay move. You're seeing a lot of the national news organizations this morning mad or trying to take shots at the president's message because they said it wasn't clear and concise messaging. Was it all traffic? Was it just passenger traffic? Does that affect commerce? Is it shipping containers? Is it, cruise? What is it? So I guess we'll figure that part out. But then the president did that last night to try and do a fair amount of, okay, here's where we're vulnerable, but also we're prepared and more tests are on the way, et cetera, et cetera. Then yesterday afternoon, the NCAA announces, they say, well, we're not going to allow fans in to watch the NCAA tournament. We will have essential staff and a limited number of family. Well, how limited? And how essential? Because, at what... Are we saying that family members can't be carriers of the virus? Well, that's ludicrous to think that family members couldn't be carriers, or essential staff, or members of the media, I guess I understand that what they're trying to accomplish by downsizing it, but I'm not sure that it's a guaranteed solution to the problem. Then we had the NBA yesterday, not long after the NCAA they said we're just going to suspend the rest of our season, well, at least until further notice. And then once you pause it, it's sort of hard to move things around the way that they fit into the media landscape. The NBA finals really have to work a certain date. And the way the NCAA, maybe a lot of people don't know this, the NCAA tournament schedule is actually set by when the Masters is. The Masters golf tournament and the contract with CBS dictates when CBS can carry the Final Four, and then that backs up the tournament 3 weeks from that. So all these pieces fit together. Then you had the NBA say, well, we're suspending. Then the ACC and the SEC says, well, we're not going to allow fans into our tournament after today because of this advisory council from the NCAA. Well, then that puts Major League Baseball on notice. Opening day is on the 29th, so that's in a couple of weeks. So they're like, well, we can't go blazing out there. And then you've got the girls' Sweet 16, which resumes today in Lexington, and the boys' Sweet 16 state tournament that starts next week. And so everybody's faced with the same decision. Then, all along the way, you've got to fit in Governor Beshear, who came out yesterday and said, I think you should cancel church. Well, now that was a bridge too far for a lot of people. You know, that was the one where you go, okay, well, here's where my metal's going to get tested. You can take sports away. You can say that we shouldn't gather in large groups. We can do this, you can do that. But that's going to get, he said, I understand there's going to be pushback about canceling churches. He says, I don't think that it's an act of faith if you do or if you don't attend church. So it will be interesting to see what people choose to do on Sunday. I know where I'm going to be on Sunday, but I won't let that decide where you're going to be on Sunday. The question that I've had since middle of yesterday afternoon is what you hear me say a lot. To what end? How long are we willing to do this? And will it spell the financial collapse of our country when not only do you take entertainment and sports and leisure travel out of the mix, but the next thing is going to happen are schools going to be canceled, most likely. Universities have decided to send their kids home for at least an extended spring break and then maybe into April. We might as well at least prepare ourselves for the fact that elementary and high school students may follow the same suit. Then that's going to impact working parents. And so if they can't go to work, and so it snowballs from there. So I'm just curious to know how long can we expect to do this? I don't have the answer.
I had a very kind of nonchalant attitude about it too yesterday until I started reading more and vetting reports out of Italy, people who are personally dealing with it there, what their economy is like, what their lives are like. But when Forrest Gump
serious business when Tom Hanks gets
it got real. Here's the thing, though. I talked to a couple medical professionals last night, and here's my concern. You know, if you have to have a ventilator with this disease, and there's not enough ventilators for all of us if we get sick. So if we can prevent the spread of it and minimize how many get sick so that they can properly be treated, that's what Italy's dealing with right now. That's my fear, is the hospitals will be overtaxed, and there's not enough medical equipment if we all got sick with the same thing. Here's the other thing I thought of. You know, we dealt with swine flu, we dealt with SARS, we've dealt with MRSA. We always have these new things pop up occasionally, but it's never, ever in my lifetime forced countries to shut down. And I have to look at that and say, why is that? And I think Italy is showing us it's because their medical community cannot keep up with the amount of people getting sick. So I live preventatively. I'm going to take the proactive approach and say, if we could all just stay put, we did this during the ice storm for 2 weeks. Just stay put. We survived. Our economy didn't collapse. Let this thing burn through and get out, and then we can go back to a normal civilization. But if we all keep going on and acting nonchalant about it and acting like we're overreacting and we do all get sick, then there's going to be choices made on who gets a ventilator and who doesn't get a ventilator when we all show up at the hospital sick.
Except, you mentioned Tom Hanks, so I was just reading on screen a few minutes ago. I think we've got to remember, too, that he said that they had cold symptoms and they had this, and so they tested positive. They weren't on ventilators. They're two people that have. I did hear a professional say this morning, and making the point that you made. We can't run the risk of taxing the resources of our healthcare infrastructure.
Right.
All of our healthcare facilities have a limited number of patients that they can support at any given time. So what is being done here is, and the case you're making, and I can agree, I can wholeheartedly get on board with a nip it in the bud approach if you can help assure me that a temporary inconvenience is really going to be successful in a long-term escape of the issue. Because, like you say, we for a few weeks, we can sustain the economic aspects of this.
Right.
But how will we know if we just do this and say, well, there's no sure signs that we're safe? We're going to have to, in 3 weeks or in a month, we're going to have to roll the dice because we can't stop. Our nation economically won't sustain the stop of dollars.
Right. I get that. And so let me readdress. Not everybody would have to have a ventilator, but the severe cases would have to, and there would be probably enough. If we all got sick, there would be enough severe cases that would come into play.
Right.
But so put yourself in that leadership position. If you're having to lead a county, lead a state, lead a nation, and this is what the WHO is saying, Do you say, let's just shut down temporarily and let's see if it goes away? I mean, you at least have to try an isolated approach instead of saying, go about your business. If we get sick, we get sick. It's like the chicken pox. We're not going to die. That's not true. So it's not this, oh, it'll build your immune system. Eat some dirt and go on. You know, we've always had that approach with sickness. There's no vaccine. I don't think there's enough known about it yet to say, this is how it's going to work. This is our first introduction to it. So I'm not afraid of the virus. I'm afraid of people's reaction if we get to a place that resources are taxed.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly
Yes.
right. We cannot overload the system.
Right.
For me personally, here's where I've been really for the last couple of weeks, but especially over the last day. This is just me and my personality, complete and total, like, pull back of the curtain. I do not want to be cavalier about this, but I'm not going to be panic stricken over it.
Right.
And so here's the adage that I came up with, just for me and myself, going, I think I'd rather have the virus than have the fear and limitations of not being able to live my life. You know, that's just, and I don't know if you said, well, here's an injection, you're getting the virus, go on about your business. I don't know that I would make that decision. For me mentally, that's where I have to get to and go, would I rather have it, or would I rather be limited and feel contained?
I would rather be limited and contained for a brief moment in time.
Yeah, but that's not his deal. That's not how he operates.
I
I'm
know, but I'm
claustrophobic.
saying for me,
Yeah.
I would rather be home or honestly, you and I, we would be here working like we were at the ice storm. So
And I do believe that you all are healthy enough that if you were to contract,
right,
you
we
all would
would-
be okay. It
we
would be
would
more
get
like
through
a
it.
common cold.
But I
it's-
also don't want to, if we had it, then we are taking the risk of infecting people who may not overcome it successfully. So that's the thing. I'm not afraid of the virus. I'm afraid of the taxing of resources and people's reaction to that. So if we can be preventative, let's figure out today how to make for sure our economy goes on, but we do a reverse. You know, when we have a natural disaster, we get everybody together, we contain them, we just like the ice storm. This is the reverse of that. We need you to stay home, and then how do we get resources that you need to you and make for sure that we just keep the economy going, but we've got to do that strategically in a different way. Now, here's my thing about the economy. Unlike the ice storm, we now have Amazon, and all of our shopping can be done online and delivered through drones. I don't think the economy is going to shut down. People are actually going to spend more money because they're so bored. They're sitting home shopping.
Well,
I don't know if it's boredom,
except
but
this, though. Here's a good example. So here's one that is easily overlooked. Mark Cuban. They interviewed Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, after the suspension of the NBA season last night. And he talked about all of the people that work in the arena where the Mavericks play are hourly workers. And if the arena doesn't go, they don't earn. So it's a matter of
Sure. I mean, it's a big
those
deal.
it's
There
again,
are
it's the
so
way
many
all
things
of
like
those
that.
economic pieces fit together. If people don't fly, then flight attendants don't work, and then airport people don't work, and it's just on. And
But
it's
didn't
like,
the president address that this morning, that people would still be paid?
so he can't force all of them to be paid. They can create incentives to encourage people to pay rather than pay a payroll tax.
Right.
If I mean, there are things that can be done, but again, like there's just general uncertainty of the whole thing. And I will say,
But I think that's where workman's comp and some of those insurance things come into play that would have to pick up. Yes, there are going to be people who suffer financially. There are going to be people who suffer. But that's what I'm saying. What if you were in leadership, what decision would you make? Because for the greater good of the health of the nation and to not end up where Italy is, what decision would you make?
well, that's sort of my next, where I was coming to was but I'll speak specifically about self, have to kind of walk a tightrope, because everything that we say, everything that I am willing to represent has to be properly vetted based upon all available information and studying of the facts, where the general person who's out there can just believe absolutely everything they read, hear, or see and go, well, that's the way I feel about it. And so my point is that this is the first big one that information moves Like, just like that.
Right.
The social media aspect, the there was someone saying that Daniel Radcliffe had the coronavirus earlier this week. Scare tactics that Harry Potter had the virus. Like, it's the irresponsible aspect that people are just, it just creates to the confusion of lack of clarity that sometimes I get to the point where I just decide, we have access to too much information as a society. Yeah. We no longer have the proper filtration devices in place to separate out the bad stuff, the stuff that's not true, to get down to the what is true facts. And that's the real danger of this all, is not knowing what's true and not knowing what isn't true. So we'll see. The Sweet 16, I expect the KHSAA Sweet 16, I expect the KHSAA to make a decision, if they've not in the last 24 minutes, to kick fans out of Rupp Arena for the rest of the tournament. And then they would do the same thing for the boys tournament tomorrow. But in action yesterday in Lexington, the Anderson County defeated Franklin County 40-37. Bullitt East defeated Elizabethtown 66-56. Casey County defeated Pikeville 49-46, and Ryle defeated Letcher County Central 59-36. And coverage resumes today on 103.9 The Moose at 10:45. You can hear the games of the girls' Sweet 16 live from Rupp Arena in Lexington. Got to get to a break. Got plenty more on the way. Hang around here on In the Know.
At Litchfield Pediatrics, we don't just love our community, we love yours too. Serving surrounding counties from Warren to Hardin, our growing network of physicians and professionally trained staff provide the best in pediatric care. Now offering new online appointment requests, available 24/7 and can be accessed by visiting our Facebook page. Give us a call at 270-259-5641 or stop by our new facility located at 901 Wallace Avenue. Litchfield Pediatrics, providing the best in pediatric care.
Today, successful small businesses are lean, portable, and focused. If you're running your own business, you need to stay in tune to your customers, vendors, and employees. That doesn't leave much time for processing payroll and reporting, much less the overall performance of your business. The firm of Buckles, Travis, and Hart has a full offering of services for small businesses. Payroll processing, tax liability, unemployment, and financial reporting, just to name a few. Think of them like a built-in business manager, but they don't get sick and they don't ask for time off. Call or contact today to help get your business focused across the board. Buckles, Travis, and Hart, 270-259-5604, GraysonCPAs.com.
If your tires are so old, they literally remember the Alamo. That's a big oh no. If your engine gets so hot, people ask for its number. That's a big oh no. If hitting a bump in the road sends your car bouncing like a kangaroo on a pogo stick, that's also a big oh no. And if your brakes are hitting notes so high a children's choir would be impressed, that's a very big oh no. Thankfully, for all your car's big oh no's, there's always a big oh yes. Now through March 29th at participating Big O tires, save up to $100 instantly on sets of 4 Cooper, Nitto, Pirelli, or Toyo brand tires with paid installation purchase. $100 instant savings on sets of 4 select Toyo Open Country line, or $80 instant savings on all other Toyo lines of tires. $70 instant savings on sets of 4 Nitto, Cooper, and Pirelli brand tires. Not valid with other offers. Disposal fees extra and up to 10% shop fee based on non-discounted regular retail price not to exceed $35 where permitted. See store for details.
Hey everybody, Teresa Cook with Wilson & Muir Bank. Are you or someone you know getting ready to buy a new home this spring? With the Federal Home Loan Bank's Welcome Home Grant, we can help you get up to $7,500 towards that purchase. Funds become available March 2nd and won't last long. Call us today or visit us online at www.wilsonmuirbank.com.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 403246.
Airbnb is out with some flexible reservation policies due to the coronavirus. Until June 1st, the housing site is waiving the standard 3% host fee that it collects for hosts who refund more of their would-be guest money than the Airbnb cancellation policy requires them to. If you're a guest who needs to cancel a booking, you will not be charged Airbnb's 14% guest service fee for doing so. Guests who aren't charged the service fee will get a travel coupon worth that amount for future use. Twitter is out with some new rules to make sure you know what is a bot and what is not. Developers now have to clearly mark if an account automatically posts. Bad bot accounts are used to spread spam and troll users, while nice bots remind us to drink water and tell us when there's an earthquake. Just what the world needs, Super Mario-themed overalls. Levi's is teaming up with Nintendo to produce the new line that includes the overalls, a jean jacket, some noisy shirts, and a pair of shorts brimming with the cartoon drawings of Mario characters. Tech Report, Larry Olson.
Well, I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh, yeah. Say, I got a woman way over town, good to me. Oh, yeah.
Today is Girl Scout Day today. Tell you why a little bit later on in the show. We cover our Today in History events. It's Plant a Flower Day today. It is Popcorn Lovers Day today. I know Eli the Thomas.
Yes.
He is
He's a big fan.
He's a big fan. His mom is no stranger to popcorn. I've noticed more popcorn in the building the last few months. And then I wanted to go ahead. Of course, tomorrow will be Friday the 13th. Saturday will be Pie Day. So for math nerds, I wanted to give them a head start on some corny math jokes that you can throw down on Saturday when you're out visiting friends or staying in or whatever it is that you're going to do. Why should you never talk to Pi? Because he'll go on forever.
Oh.
What was Sir Isaac Newton's favorite dessert? Apple pie. Why did Pi get its driver's license revoked? Because it didn't know when to stop. Let's see. What do you call a snake that is 3.14 feet long? A python. And what do you get when a bunch of sheep stand in a circle? Shepherd's pie.
You're such a dad.
1.41592. That's about as far as I can go before I need to let the calculator take over. It was an interesting discussion. I saw Matt Jones retweet it yesterday after 2 days ago we told you about Berea announcing 2 days ago what they were doing. And then UK and U of L and Western and basically everyone else has followed suit. Extending spring break, certainly not returning until early April. Asking kids, get out of here, go home, and be with whatever you're going to do. And it planted this seed that was shared, and I wondered, if we prove, let's just say a month from now, or the first week of April, that we don't feel like we can resume our normal routines, and let's say that they decide to have online coursework, will that permanently change the institution of colleges and universities?
I don't think it will. I think because my age group already does online because it's convenient for us. We have life set up. It's not convenient for me to drive to U of L's campus 3 times a week,
right?
4 days a week. But I think the 18-year-old is always going to want to have the experience they're seeing in movies. They want to move away. They want to go, join a fraternity, a sorority. They want to hang out in a dorm. They want to have dorm life. I don't think you're ever going to get away from that teenager ready to take that step and go on and experience college life. And that seems to be in, our civilization, the bridge for most of that age group into adult life. So
that's the incubator before you adult,
yeah.
Or at least attempt to adult.
I don't think you ever.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think you ever lose that.
Over a decade, I certainly agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Over 2 decades or over a generation, I'm curious because in this move, and our household is a perfect example, is that in the world of dual credit, the ability to limit the housing and the fees and the food and the housing, being able to minimize those costs go a long way toward eliminating or amassing student debt. Yep. And now when professors realize they can provide 2 months worth of a syllabus online, whereas it used to be a portion of the 2 or using whiteboard or whatever, I guess I'm just wondering, does the University of Phoenix is the school that we laughed at 15 years ago. Like, yeah, online college. That's funny. Who would ever do that? And now we're at least over the next 4 to 5 weeks going to go, well, this is what it would look like if we all did this.
Well, and then you also, there's so many classes you cannot do online. You cannot do labs, you cannot do biology, you cannot do medical school. I mean, so I don't think our universities ever go away. I think you may see those campuses get smaller when they realize, hey, it's more economically beneficial for us to not have the infrastructure, and it's more expensive online. You pay a premium to be online to have that convenience. So because they're losing their food, their housing tuition, they're losing their parking permits. So I don't think it'll ever go away. It may downsize. You may see a couple smaller campuses close that force them into, those that want to go and have the experience.
Universities will already tell you they're having a hard time expanding and growing like they want to, and that's why the cost of education has skyrocketed in a generation. But my parents, they were able to work summer jobs and then fund their education, and I'm like, a kid can't scratch
You're already a doctor. I can't work enough in the summer to pay.
That's right. And so it's just kind of interesting the way that way that works. Now, we also should point out that all of the superintendents for public schools and maybe even private schools in the state were on a conference call yesterday getting information through the state and just sharing of information and what to be prepared for. We have no inside information on what's going to happen with public schools, but I'm just telling you, be prepared because if church is not okay, right? If Governor Beshear says church is not okay, which I don't have a key. I can't unlock the doors, but I'll at least be in the parking lot Sunday morning. All right. I may get no further than that, but I'll be there. But if the state says that's not okay, then surely school isn't okay. It's just a matter of lining it up and trying to get close enough that they can throw a blanket over the spring break week as well to try and mitigate the amount of time that they're out. But do you think it's inevitable?
I think it needs to be because the incubation period for a carrier is 2 weeks. And I think that's what they're working off of. If everybody could get isolated and let it pop up where it's going to pop up, deal with that, and then move forward.
I agree with that, but I so worry about little kids.
And that's the thing. So that's just like the ice storm is how do we make for sure they're fed? And that's where local government's going to have to say, hey, let's figure out how we make for sure. We have the meals on the bus. We can run our meals on the bus to make for sure our most vulnerable citizens are getting fed. But for the greater good of society, there needs to be a kind of okay, everybody take a break for a couple weeks. Let's let this thing run through. And I think that's the approach they're taking when you look at the timelines. 2 to 3 weeks, let's just kind of shut down. Let's not do mass organized things. And then let's let it pop up and see who has it and who doesn't.
All
and
right.
move on.
So the way that's drawn up on the board, I love the way that's drawn up as execution.
Mm-hmm.
But I know people, and you know people, and we all know people. Here's the difference between that strategy in an ice storm and that strategy during the first 2 weeks of spring. I have no idea. Here's the difference. During an ice storm, there were a large number of people that couldn't go anywhere. If you lived on a main road or you could get a ride, or there were people out beyond the first few days of the ice storm, there were people that were out. There were other people who lived in remote areas that couldn't go anywhere. If we send kids home, they're not going to stay home. They're going to go wherever they want to go. You have to close the restaurants, the movies, the parks, So are we accomplishing anything? I know it sounds good. Okay, we're going to shelter in place, if you will. We're going to isolate ourselves. But the success of that has to depend upon people being willing to follow the advice and the instructions. So my question, will they? Will they follow that advice?
Well, I don't know that they will, but look, we worry about our kids going home. They're home all summer and they survive and come back to school. It may not be the best of situations, but I mean, you have to do what you can do as government to make for sure that you are making your best decision for the overall spread of a disease that could tax our medical resources. And if they follow suit, they follow suit. If they don't, they don't. But I'm just trying to look at it. If I were the governor, if I were the judge executive, if I were the president, what would I want to do looking at what Italy's dealing with? Can we prevent this in some way, shape, or form?
From a leadership standpoint,
right,
you can't afford not to do this, to run the risk of being on the other side to say, if only we had.
And I think that's what I'm trying to say. America's in a good position to be proactive right now instead of reactive.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just be proactive and let's just not get sick. And if that means that we have to take off work and people are going to financially struggle, and we're sorry for that, but that would be easier than a bunch of people getting sick and then having to shut down our economy for a really long time.
So, does anybody have any idea if my dad might be on a phone call? I got a story about the IRS that I'd like to share, but
Is that ring-a-ding that we just heard?
If he's listening, I'm a little afraid, or his firm, I'm a little afraid to share this information.
I'm a little bit terrified. What's
But
happening?
they've not made a decision yet, but the Treasury Department may delay the April 15th filing deadline of your income taxes. Now, I'm about to get lit up for sharing that information, but it's knowledge, it's information. I'm not saying that decision's been made. I'm saying this is the crazy state that our world is reaching, and having to consider that as a possibility. But anyway,
there's a silver lining to every dark cloud. Is that what I'm hearing?
maybe there is. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. We've got today's water cooler question. It'll be your chance to win coming up here on In the Know.
There's an astonishing impersonation show at Joel Ray Sproul's Lincoln Jamboree in historic Hodgenville this Saturday night you won't want to miss. Featuring Justin Cole as Keith Whitley, Merle Haggard and Josh Turner, Beth Henderson as Paulette Carlson and Patsy Cline, Camille Bingham as KT Oslin and Dolly Parton, Jeremy Bell as Tim McGraw, Emily Portman as Loretta Lynn, Kitty Wells, Reba McEntire and Tammy Wynette, Ben Devers as Garth Brooks and George Strait, Larry Gene Sanders as Bill Anderson, Jerry Barnes as Marty Robbins, Alonzo Pennington as Hank Jr. and Charlie Daniels, Ben and Jeremy as Montgomery Gentry, along with Jay Henderson and all of Joel Ray's Jamboree gang. For reservations, call 270-358-3545. That's 270-358-3545. Or buy them at the door Saturday night at the Lincoln Jamboree in historic Hodgenville, Kentucky. Wow, what a show!
Get lured in by a tender Filet-O-Fish from McDonald's. Enjoy 2 of them now for just $5. Made with flaky Alaskan pollock from sustainable fisheries, it's a crispy, steamy, tangy treat that'll leave you ready to dive in for another bite. Plus, add any size soft drink like an ice-cold Sprite for just $1. Catch this deal before it's gone. Only at McDonald's. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meals. Single item at regular price.
Hello. I'm Kevin Henderson, Grayson County Judge Executive. You don't need to be an inventor, a scientist, or a judge executive to shape the future of your community. You just need to be someone who cares about your community. By being counted in the 2020 census, you will help inform funding for local school programs, emergency services, and roads in our community. We all count. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
Luke Bryan, proud to be right here tour. Friday, October 23rd, Rupp Arena.
Yeah, that's my kind of night.
Luke Bryan live.
Play it again.
With special guests, Morgan Wallen. And Runaway June. Pre-sale for City Card members begins Wednesday at 10 a.m. through Thursday at 10 p.m. Before the general public on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Get tickets at livenation.com.
I remember as a young girl going to Community Trust Bank with my mom. She would pack us all up and then we'd all go inside. Now I have 2 little girls of my own and I look back and I don't know how she did it. I still bank at Community Trust. They have 79 branch locations, over 100 ATM locations, online banking and mobile banking. They've made it so much easier for me and my family. And that's what I love about Community Trust.
Community Trust Bank, building communities built on trust. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When you're ready for an unforgettable vacation, just pick your park, then pick your path.
Nestled in beautiful surroundings, Kentucky's 45 state parks offer a variety of activities and accommodations. Set up your campsite, settle into a cozy cabin, or check into a full-service resort offering plenty of amenities, including 13 nationally recognized golf courses. Book your Kentucky State Parks getaway at www.parks.ky.gov.
K105 Weather is brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Twin Lakes weather.
Strong severe thunderstorms still on tap to arrive as we head into the evening hours. Our timing here looks to be anytime after 4 o'clock this afternoon all the way to about midnight or even 1 a.m. will be that window for strong to severe thunderstorms to roll through. Not every location will experience one, but that potential will be there. Afternoon high of 70, staying warm tonight. On the way for new storm tracking team, I'm meteorologist Brian Good.
Did you know a second is called a second because it is the second division of an hour? So the first division is a minute.
Okay.
So you divide 60,
Sure.
an hour into 60 minutes.
Right.
The second division is to divide those minutes into seconds. Second division. That's why we call it that way.
Why don't we call it first and second then?
Yeah, a minute should be a first.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I guess we got lazy on that. So learned. So couple things. Go right ahead with your normal routine on your tax filing. Everything's going to be just fine in that regard.
They're going to take your money right on time.
That is exactly right. Matter of fact, we're going to need it.
Yeah.
The nation is going to.
We need your dollars.
It's going to need it.
Don't
what
stop
else?
shopping
What else?
online.
Did we learn anything else during the break that we needed to pass along? I don't know. We'll find out.
I didn't. No.
You didn't?
Wash your hands.
Oh, washy. Here's today's water cooler question. It's your chance to win if you've not won in the last 30 days and you're 18 years of age or older. Call 270-259-6000, 270-259-6000. Now, if you have won tickets to the Hot Wheels Monster Truck Live at the Yum Center this week, that event has been postponed, but your tickets that you have are good when they schedule and have the event. Same thing for the family 4-pack that you're going to win today. Okay, so the show has been postponed for this weekend, but as soon as it's rescheduled, your tickets are good for that, and we'll certainly keep you aware of that. Here's the water cooler question. 10% of dads admit they have fallen asleep here. 10% of dads admit they have fallen asleep here. 270-259-6000, 270-259-6000. 10% of dads admit they have fallen asleep here. 270-259-6000.
Or is it higher than 10%?
That's higher than 10%. I did kind of chuckle that, at in the arcades, they have the claw machines.
Uh-huh.
In the United Kingdom. Some, I don't know if they're serious or it's funny, but they're putting hand sanitizer and toilet paper rolls and things like that in the arcade machines.
Yeah.
So that
That's
when
good.
the claw comes down, you might grab a roll of TP and drop it in there.
That's great.
Yeah, the world lost its mind. As soon as Forrest Gump got the virus, then it's all over.
That's it.
He and Rita Wilson.
Things got real.
Australia, right? That's where they have been. He was
that's
shooting a
right.
movie in Australia. The late night shows have nixed their live audiences over concerns. Colbert, Fallon, Seth Meyers, Trevor Noah, John Oliver, Samantha Bee, and Andy Cohen will face empty studios next week. It'll be weird because I remember when David Letterman returned after 9/11 for the first time to do his show, he did it without a studio audience, and it was so eerie.
Yeah,
It was weird. And, the laughter is at the core. A monologue isn't nearly as funny without jokes, without laughter. You're standing up there telling jokes and no laughter from an audience. I almost think they have to reformat the things because it's just not, it just doesn't work. Let's go to Jerry. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Just fine.
Great. Here's the question. 10% of dads admit they've fallen asleep here. Where is it?
Church.
Church is Yes, 100% of dads admit it's probably not 100%, but it's high. Ashley.
In the shower?
Say that again?
In the shower?
In the shower, is not
listen.
what we're looking for. Keep trying. It's a good
But
place to fall
you could
asleep.
sit down on one of those little teak benches in that warm water.
Whitney, what's your guess?
On the toilet.
On the toilet is correct. More specifically, on the toilet at work.
Oh, at work.
At work.
Work. I don't understand why it takes you so long. It does not take girls that long, but go ahead.
Got to get all your thinking done.
I guess.
Hey, hang on, Whitney. Gonna get some information from you. Congratulations. A reminder again: if you've won tickets to the Hot Wheels Monster Truck Live event this weekend, postponed, but your tickets are still good when they reschedule the show. That's your understanding, right?
Yes, that's my understanding.
What else do you need to know about Rob Gronkowski? A report says Rob Gronkowski is very close to sealing a deal with the WWE to be a wrestler. Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison after his convictions. Superman is America's favorite superhero, according to a new infographic. I think he is in the top of the most people. I think on average, more people say Superman.
Superman's like Coke. We use the word Superman to describe all the superheroes. I think it's because, at least our age group, he was the first one I was introduced to.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, I didn't, it was him first, then Batman and Robin.
And here in 2020, we're 50 years removed from 1960. And here are things that are turning 50 in the year 2020.
Okay.
That you might be surprised that they're already a half century old. All My Children, the TV show, 50 years old this year. Irish Spring Soap.
What my husband loves.
He does like that?
He likes the body wash.
They had a strong commercial game when we were kids.
Yeah.
You know, there was an Irishman, when he was whistling, and like it just seemed very masculine.
Like I want to grow up and be him.
Right.
Yes.
Ford Pinto and the AMC Gremlin are 50 years old. The McDonald's Shamrock Shake is 50 years old. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. The Judy Blume book is 50 years old. Pebbles cereal is 50 years old. The Apollo 13 mission, where they uttered the famous Houston, we have a problem. And this, by the way, my information says, and I wonder if we've gotten this wrong over the years, it may have been Houston, we've had a problem, was technically what they said, because after that, he's radioing down saying, Houston, we've had a problem.
Gotcha.
But our culture has modified that to Houston, we have a problem.
Right.
Matt Damon is 50 years old today. Earth Day this year. Aerosmith is 50 years old this year. And Earth Day is 50 years old this year. Are you surprised at any of those?
I think the Shamrock Shake gets me. I thought it was like 4 years old.
Yeah, it seem like it wouldn't be five decades old, but indeed it is. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got Point to Ponder, Chart Toppers, Pearl of Wisdom, and more coming up here on In the Know.
In recent years, traditional values have taken a beating in our culture. Moral boundaries of every kind have been pushed to their limit, and in some cases, rejected entirely. It's to the point where even suggesting there's a right and wrong way to do things is condemned. And I think it's a mistake, and I've got some pretty good support for my opinion. George Washington himself said, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. For society to thrive, its citizens have to be moral. But in recent decades, there's been an epic shift in values. The boundaries between right and wrong have become blurred. Nowadays, we question whether a father or a mother is really all that important to a child's well-being. There's also a growing sense of entitlement in our culture. More and more people refuse to accept responsibility for personal behavior because they believe the world owes them something. And the truth is, our society can never flourish unless we learn to uphold moral standards as our forefathers did. They're a set of eternal values that shape our lives, not whimsical ideas we change into whatever we want them to be. I have hope that our country can restore its moral compass. It's happened before, in England in the 1830s and in the United States in the 1930s. Social chaos is reversed, in part because voices throughout society say with both compassion and conviction, this is right and this is wrong. For Focus on the Family, I'm Jim Daly.
From the University of Louisville, this is U of L Today. Kentucky has the highest rate of kids with ADHD in the country.
ADHD is a biological brain-based disorder.
That's Paul Rosen. He's the head of a U of L research lab focusing on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. 18% of Kentucky kids have ADHD, worst in the country. Rosen's research is finding medication isn't necessarily the best way and certainly not the only way to change these kids' behavior and help them fit in.
But amazingly, there are no established treatments to help kids with ADHD with frustration. There are no established treatments to help kids with ADHD control their emotions. Developing a treatment that's called the Managing Frustration for Children group. And what it is a 12-week treatment that explicitly focuses on the frustration problems that children with ADHD have. But so far, the initial data look very promising in that it seems to be really helping these kids, not just with controlling their frustration, but also with improving their emotional functioning and improving their behavior.
Finding the research and groundbreaking treatments to help all children thrive. We are U of L.
As a child, I can remember always being excited about going to Community Trust Bank with my parents because I knew I was going to get a treat. It's funny, now that I'm married, have 2 kids, and just bought a new home, when it came time for a new home loan, I went to Community Trust Bank. I trust them and knew they'd be there for me and my family, just like they were there for Mom and Dad. And now with 79 locations, there's no reason to go anywhere else but Community Trust.
Community Trust Bank, building communities built on trust. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You may have pulled a prank on April Fool's Day before, but you've never done anything like this. It's the Fool's Day Comedy Fest at Lexington Opera House, April 1st at 7 p.m. If you feel up for a little foolishness, we've got 4 great comedians. Former Mayor Drew Hastings, Pat Godwin, Jeff Oskey, and Bob and Tom Show co-host Josh Arnold. It's Lexington's first Fool's Day Comedy Fest, April Fool's Night at 7 at the Lexington Opera House. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
When you're ready for an unforgettable vacation, just pick your park, then pick your path. Nestled in beautiful surroundings, Kentucky's 45 state parks offer a variety of activities and accommodations. Set up your campsite, settle into a cozy cabin, or check into a full-service resort offering plenty of amenities, including 13 nationally recognized golf courses. Book your Kentucky State Parks getaway at www.parks.ky.gov.
MB's Point to Ponder for today. What do some people spend money on that you think is a waste? Or you turn it around. What do you spend money on that you think some people think is wasteful that you do?
Well, which one do you want me to address first?
You do either whichever is easier, whichever path you choose.
Oh gosh, I waste a lot of money on clothes, but it's kind of my sport. Like I love fashion, like my husband loves golf.
Okay, got
it.
Well, like things like extended warranties. Like I'm not a big fan of extended warranties. There are a few things that I will do extended warranties on when I do the math and go, well, okay, maybe. Generally, they would be larger things. But if I go buy electronics, right, you buy the $70 DVD player, and I say, do you want extended warranty on that? No. Yeah. When it quits working, I'm going to throw it in the garbage and come buy another one.
By the time it quits working, like it's antiquated and we've moved on to downloadable movies anyways.
Right. It makes me feel a little bad sometimes when I have to pay an ATM fee. Like when I get somewhere because I forgot to get cash, and it goes, we're getting ready to charge you, $3 to take money. Yeah. It's like it feels kind of wrong, but it's the convenience, like, well, I need cash, so here it is. I get that. Some people would probably not like that I spend money on apps. Like, why would you spend money on an app? Well, because it provides a resource,
right?
Or
it's
whatever whatever it might be. So that's why I was wondering if there's anything there. Today's highlight in history. This day, 1980, a Chicago jury found John Wayne Gacy Jr. guilty of the murders of 33 men and boys. In 1864, Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant assumed command as General-in-Chief of the Union armies in the Civil War. In 1912, the Girl Scouts of the USA had its beginnings as Juliette Gordon Low of Savannah found the first American troop of the Girl Guides at that time. 1933, President F.D. Roosevelt delivered the first of his 30 radio addresses that came to be known as fireside chats. He originally did not intend to do 30 of those, but the nation needed to hear from him during the Great Depression, and he did them more frequently. It was a way of reassuring people, and it was FDR's Twitter.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
That was the equivalent of trying to convey messages directly to the people. Les Mis opened on Broadway this date in 1987. Janet Reno was sworn in as the first female U.S. Attorney General this date in 1993. The Church of England ordained its first women priest in 1994. Bernie Madoff was pled guilty in New York to pulling off a big swindle in 2009. Birthdays today, Liza Minnelli is 74. Mitt Romney is 73. I bet he gets less birthday cards this year than he did last year. James Taylor is 72 today.
He may get more from the other side.
Daryl Strawberry. Nancy Pelosi sent him a big cake.
Right.
Daryl Strawberry is 58 today. Aaron Eckhart is 52. Gone but not forgotten, Jack Kerouac in 1922. And Misty, my pages were stuck together. I thought I was going to have to lick to get the,
I love that video, right? It's so-
Misty shared a video with us yesterday about a health official standing up saying, don't touch your face, don't touch your face, don't touch your face.
Don't lick your fingers.
Yeah, don't lick your,
touch-
and then
yeah.
their pages stuck together, and she licked her finger and then reached down and moved her page. I'm like,
Good
that
gravy.
doesn't work that way.
It's probably not going to work out for all of us.
Also, the season 1 finale of Carol's second act is on tonight. I like Patricia Heaton just fine, but that show struggles.
Right. I hope it's not renewed.
Yeah, it's we'll see what they do. Let's go to Chart Toppers. The state 1956. Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. Why do fools fall in love? In
Did anybody ever answer him?
Right.
Do we know now why the fools fall in love? And is it just the fools
Because they can't help it. Bless their heart.
that make us fools?
Maybe.
I'm okay with that. A little bit.
Let's go to 1965. And the Temptations were at the top of the charts.
On a cloudy day,
The Temptations and My Girl.
when it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. I guess you say, what can make me feel this way, my girl?
Did anybody tell Nancy Pelosi St. Patrick's Day wasn't until Tuesday?
She's working ahead because she can't be seen for 2 weeks. I got this whole green get up, and now I got to be quarantined.
She is Kelly Green,
I like
tip
it.
to toe.
I actually do like it. It's your favorite color, yeah.
It's yeah.
What's she gonna wear on Tuesday?
I don't know. Nobody's going to be around on Tuesday. They shut down the Capitol.
Well, by the way, I read that headline. The headline I saw, closed to visitors. Right, they're closing the Capitol to tour groups and visitors and all that stuff.
Is she a visitor though? Right?
In my mind,
Somebody give her a visitor pass.
She has overstayed her temporary status of being a guest.
I'm sorry, you're on the visitor list, Miss Pelosi.
Right.
You can come back after the virus.
Well, it's not our understanding you would be a permanent resident. Let's go to 1983.
Told me her name was Billie Jean, and she caused a scene. Then heavy hair turned with the ice dream to be
MJ, Billie Jean.
who would dance on the floor and around.
So it sounds like one of the elements that Congress is working on is on a 14-day paid emergency leave. Might go a long way. How that works, I don't exactly
I don't know, but I mean, I
not-
appreciate the effort of thinking ahead.
Not like
Let's
there's a
make for
federal
sure.
ATM. I can
Right.
drive by there and
Well, I mean, we're already broke, so why not keep spending? Just keep spending. You got to think. Our most vulnerable, they say, is 60 and over. That's the majority of our Congress and our senators and our representatives. And
wait till Rand Paul hears we're given 2 weeks paid leave.
his hair will curl.
He's going to lose his mind. That's right. 1992, Vanessa Williams, Save the Best for Last.
I like this song.
Face to face, isn't this world a crazy place?
Was she the one married to Mike Tyson?
No, that was Robin.
Oh, okay, yes.
Robin Givens.
Robin Givens, yes. Okay.
Let's go to 2001.
Okay.
Diamond Rio was number 1.
I didn't ask for money
And One More Day.
or a mansion in Malibu. I simply wished for one more day with you.
It's no Norma Jean Riley.
It's not. You're so right. We're going to agree there today.
One more time.
Norma Jean Riley wants to marry me.
One more sunset, maybe I'll be satisfied.
Epic tune.
His hair. It was.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was something. Let's go to. Kesha was number 1 with TikTok 10 years ago today. Wow, already. And a year ago today, on the heels of A Star Is Born, Gaga and Bradley Cooper and Shallow. So, Beej, you got to go back and watch American Idol from the other night.
Yes.
With the Ken and Barbie guys.
They were really good.
That was,
Love it.
I like when they got singing.
Listen,
When Luke Bryan went, "Are you all real people?"
I love they go, stop holding hands.
Yeah. Stop
Let
holding
go.
hands.
Stop holding hands. They were, though. It was like,
They were excellent.
I love you, too.
Yeah.
I'm in love with them.
Be interesting to see where they go.
I like the truck, the garbage guy and the asphalt worker.
Yeah.
I'm rooting.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for.
Truck guy.
Yeah, truck guy.
Just for.
Oh, the guy from Clay, West Virginia.
He just
The
wants
guy
a single wide trailer,
that
the
had
same
his
truck that runs better.
Dirt bike goggles on his head.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
Get it. Funny stuff.
MB's pearl of wisdom for he could have easily lived 20 miles to the west and he'd have been a Kentuckian. I mean, Clay, West Virginia and Clay County are probably the same place.
It is. Probably, yeah.
MB's pearl of wisdom for today. You know, my mother and I have always had we've always had a mutual admiration for Proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
And so Cervantes issued MB's pearl of wisdom for today. It says, a proverb is a short sentence based on long experience. A proverb is a short sentence based on long experience. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Misty Thomas, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powered by Heritage Media of Kentucky, WKHG Litchfield, Kentucky, USA, 104.9 FM, the Twin Lakes Best Mix, K105, your news starts